Alright, ladies and gents, today we are going to be solving equations with variables on both sides of the equations. So on your desk, you have your foldable, which looks like the one that I have. There's variables on both sides and variables on the same side. So as every great student needs, we're going to start with a review. Practice solving these three equations first. So as normal, our first step, after we put our line down our equal sign, is to look on either side of our equal sign for some like terms. We have some like terms on this one. We have 3x and 2x. Since they're on the same side of the equal sign, we do exactly as it says. 3x plus 2x is 5x. Then I just bring down my minus 4 because I didn't do anything with it. And I bring down my 36. Now it looks like an equation we're used to seeing, so I can continue to solve. I'm going to undo this minus 4 and add 4 to both sides. Negative 4 plus 4 cancels out and bring down my 5x. 36 plus 4 is 40. Then my last step is to do the opposite. Right here they're being multiplied, so I'm going to divide by 5. 5 divided by 5 is 1, so x is all alone now. 40 divided by 5 is 8. So x is equal to 8. On the next one, same thing like normal. Put my line down my equal sign. First thing I want to do is look for some like terms. In this case, I have 12x minus 3x. 12x minus 3x is 9x. And then I'm going to move everything else down. Plus 9 plus 5 is equal to negative 49. I still have some more like terms, so I want to put those together. Next, 9 plus 5 is 14. So now I have 9x plus 14 is equal to negative 49. Continue. I got to do the opposite of adding 14, which is subtracting 14. Those cancel out. My 9x is left over here. Negative 49 minus 14 more is a negative 63. A little bit crooked. And then to get my x all alone, I need to divide by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. My x is all alone. Negative 63 divided by 9 is a negative 7. I always like to circle my answer to keep it organized. And then my last question here, question 3. Again, always start by putting my line down my equal sign. Got to distribute first if it's ever an option. Just bringing down my 3x. I didn't do anything with that yet. 5 times x is a positive 5x. 5 times negative 2 is a negative 10. And I didn't change my 14 at all. Now I always want to look for like terms first. In this case, I have 3x plus 5x. 3x plus 5x is 8x. And I didn't change anything else, I just bring it down. Minus 10 is equal to 14. From here, I need to get 8x by itself, so I do the opposite of subtracting 10, which is adding 10. Cancels out. Bring my 8x down. 14 plus 10 is 24. Since I still have 8 x's and I only want 1 x, I have to divide by 8. 8 divided by 8 gives me that 1. 24 divided by 8 is 3. So x is equal to 3. Awesome. So that was just a review to get us started for today. We're going to fill in this summary part by writing our steps down there. So our first step is always combine like terms. So combine like terms, that includes the distributive property. If you can distribute, always want to do that as well in this first step. So your first step is to combine like terms. It's not always possible, but it is most of the time. From there, our second step is to move all constants. Move all constants. And remember, constants is just a number for, it's just a word to say a number by itself. It doesn't have any variable. Move all constants to the same side. To the same side using inverse operations. Move all constants to the same side using inverse operations. And then step 3, the last step, is to then isolate the variable completely. Isolate the variable completely. Which that just means to make sure that you have 1x left. So in our last question up here, that was taking that 9x and dividing it by 9, so you just have 1x. So that's what we mean there for isolating the variable completely. So those are our multi-step equations, reviewing all of those. Now we're going to go into our new type of equations, which is solving equations with variables on both sides. So I'm going to close the top, open up the bottom. Okay? If we look at example 4, let's move this down a little bit. When I put my line down my equal sign first, the big difference that we should notice right away is that I have an x over here and I have an x over here. So that's our big difference. That's what we mean by variables on both sides. So the first thing that we want to do when we're solving this type of problems is we want to move all of our variables. We want to move all of our x's to one side using inverse operations. So in this case, I see a negative 2x. I like to deal with positive numbers. So I'm going to add 2x to both sides. Negative 2x plus 2x cancels out. Didn't do anything with my 15 yet, so I just brought that down. 4x plus 2x is 6x. And now I haven't done anything with my 39, so I just brought that down. And now it looks just like the problem that we did before. So I can do the same thing. Subtract my 39. Since it's being added, I have to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract my 39 from both sides. Cancel out over here. I'm left with 6x. 15 minus 39 is 24. Negative 24. And then my last step is to divide both sides by 6. So that I find out that x is equal to a negative 4. And that is what I have to do. Awesome. Example 5. 13x minus 5 is equal to 10x plus 37 minus 4x. As always, I want to look for comment, see if there's anything to combine. So if I look on this side, 13x minus 5, there's nothing to combine over there. If I look over here, 10x plus 37 minus 4x. Well, I have two of them that have an x. So I'm going to put a box around them. 10x minus 4x is 6x. I haven't done anything with my plus 37, so I'm just bringing that down. And over here, I'm just going to bring my 13x minus 5. Now I sort of want to look at my problem. I want to assess my problem. So I need to get my x's all to one side. So I either need to move my 13x or my 6x. In this case, I'm going to choose my 6x. Once again, I like to deal with as many positives as I can. 6x minus 6x cancels out. I'm left with 37. 13x minus 6x is 7x. I have 7x minus 5 because I just have to drop that down. Now I need to get my x all alone. So I want to move my 5 away from that. The opposite of subtracting 5 is adding 5. That cancels out. I'm left with 7x is equal to 37 plus 5 is 42. Now my last step is to divide both sides by 7. 42 divided by 7 is 6. 7 divided by 7 cancels out. X is all alone. I have my answer. Great, we're doing awesome. We have one more to go. Example number 6. As always, line down my equal sign first. This time I have some distributing to do. So I want to distribute on both sides at once. Negative 7 times x is negative 7x. Negative 7 times negative 1 is a positive 7. That's where I see my most common mistakes is multiplying our negatives. Be really careful with that. Same thing over here. Negative 5 times x is a negative 5x. Negative 5 times negative 5 is a positive 25. Awesome. From here, I'm going to choose which x to move. I want to have a positive x. I'm going to choose to add 7x. Still get to the same answer if you add your 5x, but for the sake of going over this, we're going to just do it one way. Negative 7x plus 7x cancels out. I'm left with 7. Negative 5 plus 7 is a 2x. I have not done anything with my 25 yet. Now I need to get my 2x alone. So in order to do that, I'm going to subtract 25 from both sides. 7 minus 25 is a negative 18. And I'm going to bring down my 2x. Okay, 25 is canceled out. And then my last step is to divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 goes to 1, so x is all alone. Negative 18 divided by 2 is a negative 9. Make sure we're being really careful with those negative signs. Perfect. And then that's it, besides writing down our summary. Once again, our summary is just writing all of our steps. So as always, your first step is to combine your like terms. It's not always possible, but when possible, you want to combine those like terms. Running into my one problem. Combine those like terms if possible. Remember, it's just like in number 5, we had to combine that 10x and 4x to make negative 4x to make 6x. That's always got to be your first step. Step 2, when you have variables on both sides, is that you want to move all variables. So that's the number with your x. Move all variables to the same side of the equation. Using those inverse operations. Remember, inverse is just a fancy word for opposite. So using those inverse operations. Step 3, after you've moved all your variables to one side, just like we did up here, we moved our 6x. Then we have to move our constants to the other side. Remember, constants is just a fancy word for the numbers. Move all constants to the other side. Using those inverse operations. Then once you have a problem like this, 7x is equal to 42. Your last step then is just to solve. And to circle your answer. Okay, but the big thing is we want to get our variables to one side. Just like we did here, we got to move our 6x over. Then you got to move your constants to the other side. So when you draw your line down the middle, make sure that your variables end up on one